And you.
Great, thank you. And welcome to the May Annapolis Environmental Commission meeting. We are still expecting a couple more members to join, but we wanted to get the live stream underway. So while we're giving a couple more members, hopefully some time to join us, Linda, I just want to ask real quick, did you get access to the document, the review
Yes.
document? Okay.
Yep. Yep. It got printed. I read it.
All right, great. All right, and I do see we picked up another person. I know Sarah Oliver won't be able to join us, so we will be at least one short this evening. But otherwise, as far as I know, we'll have the other 8 of us here. And we're at 6. No, yeah, 6. So we'll go ahead and get started on introductions. I am Jeremy Hansen. I am the chair for the commission. We can go around and I'll go by the order on my screen instead of wards, if that's okay with people. And I see Alicia first.
Hi, I'm Alicia Roberson. I'm in Ward 7.
And Marianne, you're next.
Marianne Marbury, Ward 1.
Linda.
Linda Matthew, Ward 5.
Kathy.
Good evening, Kathy Welker, Ward 5.
And Bill.
Good evening, Bill O'Leary, Ward 2.
And that's all the commissioners we have currently, but we'll go ahead and we have a new, like from the city staff or the Office of Law, I should say. Jessica.
I'm Jessica Carrace. I am one of the assistant city attorneys for the Office of Law in Annapolis.
Thank you. And I expected Jackie to be here tonight, so I don't know if we have someone that's able to take minutes in her absence. But we are at a quorum. I don't believe there are minutes sent out for our April meeting that I'm aware of. So we will push that and address that at our next meeting after we've had a chance to review them. Correct? I'm not forgetting an email. No one else got the minutes? Okay.
I don't think so.
No.
Great. Well, just by way of recap, at our last meeting, we mostly talked about our priorities, and I did belatedly make some adjustments to the draft priorities and share those out with the commission. So we hope to hopefully approve and agree to our set of priorities for the remainder of this calendar year, so we can provide that to the council and the mayor, and then move to spend more of our agenda time and efforts focused around those issues, in addition to the other ongoing issues we'll continue to advise on. And otherwise, we'll see if the Alderman Savage is able to join us, but he did share by email some updates as to what's coming down the pike. So we can still maybe talk about that. If Jackie does join us, we will talk about other updates that there may be from the city staff. But yeah. Oh, and we're now joined by our vice chair, Jenny. Once you're settled,
Yay.
you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Can you bring her bag down?
Janice, Ward 6.
Great, thank you. All right, so we'll
Paul
go
Murphy
ahead
will
and
be
move
joining
on.
us shortly.
Oh, Paul is going to join us. Thanks, Bill.
Yes.
Well, then I think that does put us up to 8 of the 9 we expect. So that's good news. So Monday night, I sent out the updated draft priorities based on what I remembered from our April meeting, as far as how we hope to condense some of these things and align them with the draft comprehensive plan language to the extent we could. So I did see there were some comments on the document. So and some questions over email. I think Kathy, you had some comments, but before we talked to I will say you had the question about a reference in the draft comp plan about AEC in-person meetings back in 2020 and 2021,
It was a summit.
a summit. Yeah,
Mhm.
I can't recall those. And if it was 2020, obviously that would have been in January or February.
Yeah, I was just curious, what a summit looks like that the Environmental Commission did and what the agenda was. And then there was a follow-up virtual one, I guess, once COVID got underway the following year. And I was just curious, kind of how that was laid out and who attended.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I attended that. I don't know that we were like the primary sponsors of it,
Mhm.
but it was a number of leading figures in the environmental community who attended, and we had a number of speakers. We talked about a number of issues and really excellent demonstrations, and then we kind of broke down into smaller Q&A sessions with various groups. But I got a lot out of it.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for that,
you.
Bill. Yeah, the one meeting I could recall was different, so that I wasn't at that one. And I wasn't a member of the commission at that point. So thank you for that. And let's see, and Kathy, I'm trying to read your other comment you made in the document. I do remember, yeah, the comprehensive plan doesn't say much about the resilience plan, but I think that was, we kept that in our priorities because I think that came from Jackie. And if I recall correctly from April's discussion, she indicated that that will be a priority for her within the next year to get a resilience plan together.
Yeah, I just found it interesting that it was like reference that one was due and then that it just should be, it should address food deserts or like map them out and then have an emphasis on equitable resilience for communities with higher social vulnerability. And I don't know if they're still accepting any comments to the comp plan, but it just seemed like there might be a little bit more direction because resilience plans can cover very broad areas or be more kind of sector based. Like I know Jackie had mentioned, she probably should have but then it may be that, the city wants to give her maximum flexibility in determining what that plan is too.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, while we're discussing your comments, was there anything else you had before I open it up to the rest of the group?
Not from me, thanks.
All right. And is there anyone who hasn't had a chance to spend the time with the priorities? I want to make sure before we move to any sort of decision that we've all had a chance to review it.
So Mary Ann Marbury, I haven't had probably enough time to go through everything and really kind of compare it to the comprehensive plan. So, but I'll defer to everyone else if you all think we're good to go. As you all know, I'm particularly interested in the tree canopy goal. So that seems to be in line with what the comprehensive plan outlined. So I'm probably good there.
Yeah, and I will say just for my own part, the language in the priorities document may not always be consistent with the comprehensive plan, but I try to at least include some references to either the goals or the action
exactly.
lettering.
Yep.
I thought it was good. Oh, sorry, Linda.
I just want to say I did not submit any suggestions and what you had down looked good to me. So go with the flow.
Did you have
I
anything
did.
else? or go ahead, Alicia.
Sorry, I wanted to ask, did the comprehensive plan mention the tree canopy analysis requirement, like how often they're gonna do that? Because I think that that's something that we need to push for to reach that goal. We need to push for like more consistent assessments. I just don't remember what it said, if it did say anything.
Yeah, I can't recall.
Yeah.
I
think-
know some discussions they've mentioned that they've looked at or considered like more frequent tools, or there are tools out there that I think update annually, but I think those might cost money. So I'm not sure if that's
Okay.
something they have access to. I know that the data sets that a lot of the high resolution imagery and data that I think the Chesapeake Conservancy analysis was based on.
I'm just trying to figure out how we can achieve the no net loss by 2028 without
So-
recent data.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't, so Jeremy, I mean, would it be possible, maybe Alicia, if you could send your comments to me, and I could and I'll, do a deep dive into the plan and to see what's in there.
Okay.
And I mean, I know we want to adopt it tonight, but it would be, and I don't know if there's enough, I don't know if we need to get so specific in the priorities.
Yeah, I guess that's
Um,
my question, is if we
yeah.
need to include that now or not,
Right.
which is fine.
And the latest analysis to that, was that just through 2018? Because I know there is data in the works. If it's not, I don't think it's released yet, but there is an update
Yeah,
based on 22-23 imagery. But
So my feeling, and I wasn't at the meeting last month, but I just think we should mirror what the comprehensive plan is asking for. I mean, just so we're kind of on the same page. I mean, and I think if we achieve what the comprehensive plan is asking for, I think we'll be good.
yeah.
So I think as long as our priorities are in line with that, then I'm good to go.
Yeah, and I do mention that's one where I did actually take language from the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
So no, there's the 3 specific pieces of the no net loss of canopy by 2028, increasing canopy to 50% by 2040, and currently I think the last number we saw was 42%.
Yeah.
As of 2018, and establish a consistent budget line in the capital budget for planting and proactive tree maintenance.
Yep.
Jenny?
I just, no changes to what you have. I just wanted to comment that, I think the expansion of the tree canopy is important, but for me, what I liked about this priority is the term proactive tree maintenance, because I think
Yes.
that a lot can happen, a lot can be achieved by expanding the maintenance aspect. And, concerns around places like Truxton Park and some of our other city amenities that may need some attention. And so the proactive tree maintenance, I think, was a really good term to include.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm realizing there's a rogue no in there. We do want tree planting.
No tree plant.
No
Yeah.
I just saw that.
Yeah, so yeah. And I know I think I've said this before, but I think personally, those are stretch goals that I'm doubtful will achieve either. If we achieve either, that's great. But personally, I'm skeptical, but I think it's important to reach for it.
Mhm.
So just throwing that out there again. Kathy?
No, I thought the priorities are fine. I thought they aligned with what I saw in the comp plan. And Alicia, I just was looking through the action items, and it does have, doesn't talk about an assessment, but it does talk about creating an online dashboard for tracking the city's tree canopy year by year. to ensure the goal of
Right.
50% is met by 2040. So I'm assuming that means some sort of an assessment would need to be done.
Yep. Or at least some, yeah, perfect. And I approved the tree priority.
Let's see, and I do know that I did emphasize the development and the review a lot less in this version, but that's kind of built into our standard business, in my opinion. But were there any aspects that might be missing to anyone?
Some of the things I thought about, but the commission might do, I think aren't stated specifically in the priorities, but they would fall within the priorities, I think. So,
Yeah.
I was asking about like public outreach and stuff like that. And I think there's something about that. There was something in the comp plan about, what was it, developing a training course or something around, I forget what, but it seemed like that was, could fall within the priority, that we don't need to state every little, every detailed thing that we might address within the priorities.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm not hearing much in terms of anything, so we don't have to belabor this further. If anyone does want to make a motion, by all means, go ahead and do so. But if there is anything major, people want more time, please speak up.
I do have one thing that and then we can motion. So you were talking about the reviewing development, and the way I saw these priorities is when we review development projects, we would kind of like look at these priorities and use these as our comment. There could be other comments too, but kind of as a guideline for like the topics that we try to encourage in these developments. So like EV parking, or diversified tree plantings, or more stormwater, water quality, etc. So I don't know if anybody, I thought that might be an obvious thing, but maybe it's not. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's how we can use these priorities.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. I motion to approve our 2024 priorities. Jeremy, should you motion or can I motion?
Oh, I think you should motion.
Okay.
And I can second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So, and the motion is to approve the draft 2024 priorities as currently stated or written. Are there any further discussion before I call for yeas and nays? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. All right, the ayes have it. So we have our 2024 Annapolis Environmental Commission priorities approved. So what we will do next, the letter portion, well, I think we don't have to necessarily approve that, and it'll be basically what we see from the previous years. We'll just update it accordingly based on the text of the priorities and get that done. So
Now make
thank
sure
you,
in your
everyone.
letter it says, we're pleased to share our 2024 environmental.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Definitely keep an eye out for those details. And I'll lean on Jenny a little bit as well, since it's our names on the letter.
Yeah. I didn't, I glanced over that. I'm not the proofreader that you, maybe Linda. But,
I just searched for 2023. It doesn't show up anymore.
okay.
All right, let me look at the agenda again here. And if we don't have either Alderman Savage or Jackie here, this could be a very short meeting. So the other thing we can address or speak to without them here is a letter in support of the tree planting and maintenance budget request. And then we can also talk about the written updates that the alderman shared with us. Any preferences on where to start? Should we just go to the letter first?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. And thank you again for sharing the language of the comments shared by Save Our Trees, because I think that's kind of the core points that the commission would also wish to make. Without a draft letter, we don't have to belabor this too much, but were there aspects of the timing or anything that others can speak to? And without Jackie, the alderman here, I'm a little in the dark.
Yeah, so, and again, you can correct me, but I mean, the council is in the process of reviewing the budget right now. So I think any feedback that we can give them, as far as the forester's budget, would be helpful. And so Save Our Trees actually was just pushing for this really nominal increase in the budget this year. So very different than what Alderman Savage is proposing. This is the budget that Brian Adams and Department of Public Works are advancing. And it's a slight increase. And so Save Our Trees is all behind, the increase. And the letter outlines all the particulars. So again, I'm not, Jeremy, I'm not sure how as the commission, how we advance it, like how, or if we do it individually. So at Save Our Trees, we did it individually. We did, every member of Save Our Trees got on the portal and provided that verbiage. And then we also contacted all of our aldermen or alderwomen. But I'm not sure from a commission standpoint how we would want to communicate if we do.
Yeah, and I think we do want a decision. I'm just unclear personally if we need the language on or the letter in front of us. I think we kind of have the main points already in front of us, just not the letter itself. So
it's
we
really
went to the
easy.
training, I think, and maybe speak to this a little more effectively. Jenny?
Well, I think I don't remember if there was a decision or a suggestion at the training one way or the other. But I think coming, maybe if it is a, I guess I'm thinking a couple of different thoughts. If it's something that we're unified on, then I guess coming, as, something coming from the AEC that addresses our priorities, and sending that to every council member, could be very useful. So I think that would be, one letter that's from the commission. And then obviously anyone with any other, opinions or ideas would then be encouraged to reach out separately as individuals. But I think since it's a city commission, having one unified letter, if it's something that addresses our priorities directly, is useful.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at the letter that Save Our Trees sent, but I mean, you could just copy and paste that letter and just change the Save Our Trees from Save Our Trees to the, from the commission, if that would work, if you all want to do that.
I did glance over that language. It seemed perfectly, fine to do that.
I agree.
So it's just, I mean, this is a very, it's kind of a small step in the overall goal to increase our tree canopy. And it's just for this year. And it's just it's a modest increase in the urban forester's budget,
Right.
Yeah,
I definitely agree that the urban forester needs a big budget. And And in fact, my only criticism of the tree planting budget, or comment, I should say, of the tree planting budget that was shared is that the maintenance, again, maintenance, that's the very important. Maintenance was increased in the second year, fiscal year to 2026, but then it stays the same while all, there's more tree plantings. The number for trees planted is, increasing by the thousands.
But
So
Jenny,
I-
was that Rob Savage's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was actually thinking, and you all let me know what you think, but so that was kind of hot off the press. I hadn't seen that. And I would be happy to volunteer to get together with him and like basically get more detail on where all these numbers are coming from. And, just so that we're, as a commission, like we'll be very comfortable with potentially advocating for what he's proposing. But I really want to know, where the numbers are coming from, why, where he's come up with all the information that he has, which is great. It's a great starting point, but I just really want to understand it.
I wonder if we meet with the urban forester.
Yeah.
as
So Brian
well.
Adams. Yes.
Brian Adams, yeah.
Mhm.
Because, I'm curious about these numbers, but in particular, the maintenance budget needs to
Right.
increase
Yeah.
as it's
Yeah.
always cut.
Yeah. But, again, what's great is that what the proposal is outlining is a great starting point for us to really, dive deep into, our goal to reach this tree canopy goal of 50%. So, it's, it's a great start,
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want the future fiscal year projections to stop the conversation
Yeah.
of getting it done this year for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're really talking about two different things. I mean, the Save Our Trees letter that we put together was just really for this fiscal year. And it's just a kind of a small step. And then the letter that Rob Savage sent is really it's much bigger.
Yeah. There were a couple of thoughts I had with some of the things in his message. Seemingly, all good. But maybe I don't know that that's right to, would rather kind of have him here to speak to some of it.
Yes. And explain everything, like where he came up with these numbers and exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
okay.
And different ways of, just a general thought I had was different ways of incentivizing tree plantings on properties that are larger. There's a lot of language about sort of the increasing the fees, but then, it would be nice to have an increase be in line with an incentive program that can help people pay for some of the landscape improvements that could be in line with these priorities.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like first step is everyone, should we put a letter together from the commission, similar to what Save Our Trees sent? Do to all of our aldermen and alderwomen and post on the website and Jeremy, I don't know how you feel about that.
Sorry, whose website in this context? The AEC?
So basically, there's a portal on the City of Annapolis website where we can basically advance the testimony to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, submitting it that way.
To support the urban foresters increase in their budget this year. This is a very small and simple first step.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we would submit the language through there. But I personally would like to see it before that. and whether or not we can still decide or agree to sending it in. But just making sure we all get a chance to look first.
Okay, yeah, so I sent that, I think yesterday. I sent like the sample language to everyone.
Well, was
But I can-
anything gonna change then based on what Jenny you added, or that's just kind of for future discussion?
No, I think the things I'm talking about are more just like going forward as kind of the bigger conversation around future maintenance budgets and potential incentive programs. But I don't think that's separate. This is a letter just to say we agree that the urban forester budget should be increased.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I would maybe just say, and if it's not already phrased that way, like we're supportive of that, but that really should be the minimum. I doubt they'll
Right.
add more, but yeah, hopefully they don't increase. If they reduce it, hopefully it's still an increase. But
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. Do you want me to send it to you again? Did it maybe get lost in your?
no, I've got it now.
Okay.
Thanks.
I mean, the letter from Mary Ann, right?
Yeah.
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 And I don't know if we maybe change just the language slightly. Like, as the commission, do we still want to refer to him as Brian, or just say it's maybe minor editorial stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, you could just say urban forester as opposed to Brian. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my one editorial change. And since this is strictly just like commentary on the specific budget proposal right now, I think it's probably more important to get it sent in
Yes.
before our
exactly.
next meeting, really.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're in the process right now of basically going through everything and approving it, for the next year.
And what Rod Savage sent, that's his proposal for next year. Like for 2025, he has a total budget of 355,000, and we're saying that we had 182,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're just so where that came from was directly from Brian Adams. So Save Our Trees. So we went to Brian Adams and we said, "What is your ask? Let us know, and we'll support you." And so that's where this all came from. So he basically came back to us and said, "This is what I'm asking for, and these are the reasons why." And that's all detailed in our testimony. And we said, "We're just going to support what you're asking for," just to kind of keep it simple. And so I'm proposing to the commission that we do the same, that we support that also.
Yeah.
But again, it's very modest in comparison to what Rob Savage is asking for.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm saying what I would like to do is do a more of a deep dive with Rob Savage, and I can take that on to basically get with him and kind of figure out why what he's asking for, why he's asking for it, so that if we support it as a commission, like we're educated about,
Yeah, and assuming he doesn't appear on the line for us, then if he's available for next month's meeting,
yeah,
maybe he could walk through with us.
that would
on
be
the call.
fantastic, right? Because again, this is very, very much in the future, so it's it'd be great if he could do a presentation, get online with us, and walk us through all of it.
Yeah, I think June 26th, right? This is
Yeah.
Fourth Wednesday.
Yeah.
Kathy?
Two things. One, I really like Jenny's idea about finding a way to incentivize also, not just fees. And the other thing I was wondering is we were talking about how the tree canopy is assessed to monitor it? Who does that, and where does the money for that come from?
So it's actually the University of Vermont does that. And the city pays for their assessment.
Whose
Yeah.
budget does it come
Well,
out of?
And we paid for that report and the analysis. That data is available for free, just maybe not yet, and that is on certain frequencies. So
Well, I'm just
if we
wondering,
want that
like-
analysis, we would have to pay for it. But if we just want the data, in theory, anyone could find that, I think, by later this year.
So what I was wondering is what department pays for that assessment, and and how often, to the question Alicia had, how often are they going to do it? And then, I mean, it doesn't come out of this budget, right? The forester's budget.
No,
That.
Yeah.
Do we know who pays for that?
yeah, I don't know. Actually, good. That's a very good question. Yeah.
Or it's probably, or wouldn't be the capital budget, but yeah, I don't know either.
I'm not a budgety person, so yeah.
But it's important to ask. That's what it's good to know. That's a good question.
Yeah, and whether or not Alderman Savage can come next month, it'd be good to have Brian here if he's available.
Yeah.
Just to maybe get both perspectives on, and he would
Yes,
probably know some of those other questions as well.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
if we can have them both, that would be ideal,
Yeah.
but one or the other is also fine.
Yeah. I mean, again, you guys know I'm all about the tree canopy, but this is fantastic that we're really, we're really drilling down and with all of this information from Rob Savage, and then, everything that's in the comprehensive plan. I mean, I think it's great that we as a commission can really give, some great feedback and recommendations. So, I mean, we have some work to do to make sure that we're comfortable with the recommendations that we give, but I think it's great. Good start.
Right, so we all seem to be in support of sending that comment, and that is consistent with our existing priorities. So I don't know if we even need a decision per se on that, but do we still want to make one anyway?
Sure.
So let me see if I can phrase that. So I move for the commission to submit comments on the proposed capital budget as outlined via email in our discussion today, that we support the proposed increase to the forester budget. Close
Second.
enough? Was that Jenny? Sorry, I
Yeah.
looked away.
Yeah.
All right. We just got any additional discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Great.
Here no nays. So ayes have it. And just to specify, Marianne, will you be the one to submit it then, or do you just want me to do that if you?
No, I can submit it. I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
Yep. And Jeremy, if you want, I can send you. So I'm going to change the beginning part of the testimony basically to reflect the Environmental Commission, but I'll send it to you what I'm going to submit to the portal before, just so that there's no. And then you can say, yeah, go ahead and submit it to the portal.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, great.
For calling the Charles.
All right, and let's see. The other items on our agenda are mostly city staff updates. We don't have Jacqueline here, and Alderman Savage hasn't joined, but just for those who might be listening in or watching later, He did share some updates for us by email in case he couldn't be here. So let's see. They have an all-day budget meeting, their vote on June 3rd, and they have some amendments that they will be discussing this Thursday, but not voting on. So we have, well, the dedicated funding source for urban forestry we already discussed in passing, and we'll probably discuss that in more depth next month, we hope. But otherwise, transition to more equitable equivalent residential unit ERU model for the watershed restoration fund or stormwater fee. So that'd be $25,000 proposed amendment to the budget of one-time use funds to fund necessary resources, contracting to shift fully to a fully ERU based fee. This would allow the city to charge property owners based on their actual impervious surface and allowing them to raise more funds from the larger and more impactful properties. The next is a link stormwater BMP database with the WRF database. Okay, so that's Watershed Restoration Fund again. So $15,000 of one-time use funds to link the stormwater BMP database with their WRF database to allow for identification of properties that have active and maintained BMPs. So best management practices. This would allow the city to potentially charge more of a stormwater fee to property owners, or i.e. commercial properties in this case, if they have zero stormwater management facilities or practices. So old grocery stores, apartment buildings that predate stormwater regulations, which probably anything built before the 90s, I imagine, but there maybe
Yeah.
ones that have been redeveloped maybe have been updated to include those post-construction stormwater controls. And finally, reusable bags, $5,000 of one-time use funds to purchase reusable bags for distribution to lower income residents. And then the other update he shared was on the urban forestry program budget. So just read from the email for those who have not seen it. Were there any other questions or comments from the group on any of those items? I can't answer them, but we can talk. Jenny?
Yeah, so I was kind of curious on the equitable residential unit model. I was trying to figure that out a little bit. Like, it sounds so to be charged on your actual impervious surface, but do they take like a percentage, or like is it a ratio of your lot size? Because if that's the case, then smaller lot sizes are actually going to be have a higher impervious. I'm just curious about how that's figured out, because it could potentially not do what I think is the intention here, to prevent larger lot sizes that don't have to, expand so much with impervious surface, to kind of, provide some incentive to not do that for them, or at least to charge them if they do that. But if you have a small lot size, the minimum lot size for the city, are you then looking at, a higher charge because you're 90% impervious surface because your house is, or whatever it is? I don't know. So that's my question.
Yeah. Does anyone know the answer as to how it is currently done?
No.
Yeah, I don't know either. And Kathy,
Yeah, I
did
don't
you have a
know.
response to Jenny's comment, or is this something new?
No, just good question, Jenny, but something new, but I can wait if others want to discuss.
Yeah, let me see. Did anyone else have a
I mean, it's
response to Jenny?
related, but,
All right, well, go ahead, Kathy.
yeah, I didn't really understand. I didn't understand this at all, honestly. And I don't know like how detailed the amendments that would go in as part of the budget are, and how much comes as legislation afterwards, like actually setting those rates that they're gonna charge more to. I don't really understand the process for that. Like what's part of the budget and what comes later as legislation.
Mhm.
And then also just, I know here it mentions like in the second one, like grocery stores and apartment buildings. And what does that mean, for like apartment buildings, right? Or say, of course, I'm thinking of Hunt Meadows, where I live, where we're in the townhouses and we have quite a bit of parking lot. What does that mean for those kind of properties too?
Right.
All good questions.
Yeah, and so unfortunately, it looks like they're going to hash out all this out at the beginning of June, and it's kind of, I don't think we have the time to really respond to it. Is that right? Do you think?
Mm,
If it says they're not voting on the amendments this week, but they would be voting, yeah, June 3rd, so not a lot of time. Or is he referring to okay, he's referring to the full council, not just the committee.
Yeah.
Well, I
Might
guess
be
then,
something, this might be an instance where individuals can reach out
Yeah.
and just voice some questions and concerns. And even if there's just enough questions that maybe need to get hashed out a little more.
yeah, that was gonna be my suggestion as well, just given the timing.
Mhm.
So I think actually just a suggestion for next year. I think maybe we can reach out to the aldermen and alderwomen and basically say, if there's anything that, is budget sensitive, if you could, share with us, well in advance so we can digest it and, understand it so that we can, if we as a commission want to advocate for it, we can, but we really need to understand it,
Well, I mean, Alderman Savage was at the last meeting. This is something that's come up since the last meeting. Is it brand new or something that's been in the works for a while? Because I agree, right? Having a little more time to be able to digest this and understand would be very helpful.
Yeah.
I don't think this was brought up at the last meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I can't recall anything specific.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
it
think
does sound like either way, these are just things to enable the information to have those changes on as far as the fee, but that would take something separate.
Right.
It's just one-time use funds to get the data or the tool necessary for the next step.
But and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think, again, given the time and the complexity of what Alderman Savage is advocating for, I don't know that we as a commission can, basically say we're in favor of it just because we don't really,
I agree.
understand all of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
so. If we had questions, would we submit them formally, or can we reply to him in this email that he sent? Or
You could probably ask him clarifying questions by email, see if you get a response. And yeah, if that's, and then you could go to the council meetings, at least the one on the 3rd. Is the one tomorrow open as well, or is that a closed work session? Someone know? I can check.
Well, there's this, I don't know where it goes, but I was just looking up the portal and I'll put it in the chat if I can. Actually, I don't see a place to chat on here. Okay, so never mind.
Yeah, I'll video chat.
Yeah, okay. So all I did was search City of Annapolis portal comment and it came and the first few links came up. So form center public comment web form. So I imagine that's where you can go, and it looks very straightforward. Marianne, is that where you submitted your letter? Okay,
Yeah.
so that sounds like the right place then.
Yep.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah, it's very easy. So.
Yeah.
But actually, Jeremy, I'll put together the verbiage that I'm gonna submit on the portal, just so that you can look at it, just to make sure you're fine with it. I'm just gonna basically substitute the Annapolis Environmental Commission for Save Our Trees.
Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh, I think in that one paragraph that Jeremy brought up where it says, it says Brian,
Yeah, there's a few spots where it says Brian.
where, yeah, where that could be changed to, the commission, I think, and that.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Where it says finally, Brian hopes that could
Yeah.
just be,
Yeah, and depending how the work session goes tomorrow, maybe these may or may not make it out of that, just depending on what their discussion goes like tomorrow, because perhaps these are brand new to some of the other council members and they may or may not be on board with it. So we'll
Exactly.
see. So yeah, I wouldn't move too quickly, and you can just ask your questions of the aldermen and see if they're still on the docket or in consideration heading into that June 3rd meeting. Yeah, I think individual interest or action is the way to go for this
Yeah.
item. And we'll try to get them, the alderman and Brian, or one or the other, or both, at our June meeting.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Let's see, was there anything else then from the group related to those items from the alderman? Any other items just generally that folks want to raise or have seen or heard around town that they want to flag or bring up for the commission? I know there was green drinks up at the was it the Garden? Last week. I couldn't go, but
Yeah, I couldn't either.
And then there's another green drinks coming up, right? And so I'm just looking right now.
do they have the Paca House one coming up, or did that already happen?
Yeah, looking to see when the next one is. I'm gonna try and make. It's the beginning of June.
I didn't get a good look at it today, but it looked like there was some activity happening on the site for the Willows development that I think we haven't discussed in a while, but it was that proposed apartment building adjacent to, what is it called? Providence Point? No.
Oh,
Between the, I'm just blanking. But
On
do people know what I'm
Forest
talking about?
Drive.
Yeah, on Forest Drive.
Forest Drive between the CVS and the new retirement community.
Yes, which is still hung up as I understand it, but at least in the case of the Willows, they seem to be moving ahead.
Sorry, which CVS on Porch Drive?
The Cherry Grove one.
Cherry
not-
Grove, yeah. It's right at the end of where Hilltop hits Forest Drive.
Oh, yes.
It used to
Thank
be
you.
the property was owned by a church and they apparently sold it off.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I just saw
Yeah.
the signs there recently. So,
Losing more trees. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
one is
that-
mostly an open lot already.
I was
yeah,
gonna say, not that
it
there was
was
much there.
cleared before, several years ago.
At least it's affordable housing.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But any other, or Bill, sorry, I see your hand.
Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't get a chance to go, but on May 4th, there was a cleanup and a cookout at what they're calling the Gateway Park on Rowell Boulevard. It's going to be part of a future, connected parks. So I was interested in that. There's, they're hoping to have, water access there and the potential to, have people, rent out kayaks and stuff like that from that area. And I know there was a homeless encampment there for many years, and I was just curious if anybody knew how that cleanup went, because there's a lot of stuff back in those woods.
Gateway Park. So this is
Right next to the State Archive building.
oh, right, okay.
Westonapolis.
There's a
Peninsula
sign
land
there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
College Creek, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
uh-huh.
Did anyone
So anyway,
make it to that
I
event?
didn't. I
No,
didn't make
I think go.
But they hope to connect that all the way down to the headwaters of the creek down at the lower Clay Street. I forget what the name of that tiny little park is, but they want to clean up that park as well and improve it. So that should be interesting.
Yeah,
there's-
I think it's an amazing idea, because it's so beautiful. There's so much natural space back in there, and
And that stand of woods is heavily infested with ivy.
yes,
And
it
there's
is.
some nice mature trees back in there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think some cleanup and some elbow grease would do that area some good.
Yeah.
And so, Bill, do you know then this was like kind of north of the bridge, like right off the creek there, north of that bridge, or is this further in?
If you can envision the State Archives building, there's a parking lot right next to it, and then there's kind of a peninsula of land jutting out into College Creek, and it's a little wooded area. I don't know how many acres it is, and there like I said, there used to be a homeless encampment in those woods, and there was a lot of debris and trash and stuff like that. But there's a lot of nice mature trees back in there, and the hope is that there would be some public water access and maybe a picnic area and maybe one or two structures, but leave it mainly wooded and connect it across or really under the bridge, and have like a walking path that would connect it to the county property, kind of right behind my house actually, which is the Adams Academy County School, and through that property down to the park at the headwater of the creek.
Yeah, I do remember hearing about those plans at some point in recent years. So, yeah, that is certainly the kind of connected infrastructure, green infrastructure we'd like to see more of, and especially for that area.
Yeah.
But I guess that's initial site though is state property then, so that's right. So I guess
Yeah, I
maybe
think
with
that's
that there
kind
we
of
need to hear an update from.
kind of part of the problem, I think, is that you've got state property, county property, and city property.
Yeah. And then a church, is the church owned
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Sure.
then the church.
Hmm.
And there's quite a big swale next to the church and kind of behind the DNR. That is also a prime target for somebody like the SRA or Arundel Rivers now to look at, because the entirety of the Naval Stadium property and a good chunk of Taylor Avenue and the DNR all drain to that one area, and it's not in good condition either. So I was hoping that that would be put on a priority list for revitalization at some point as well.
I think, was it Eric who presented the parks plan to us last, or
Yeah.
was it someone else? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to remember his name. Yes, Eric.
And he might not
Actually,
be the person.
it'd be interesting to have him come and speak about that, that project Gateway.
Yeah, if things are moving from like that planning phase to implementation, he might not be the person, but you'd probably
Right.
know who we can ask.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But thanks for reminding us about that, Bill. I did not know about that cleanup project. Hopefully that's an indicator that they're making
Yeah,
headway.
I hope so.
Any other updates from the group? Well, I do want to ask, I did include that document that Jessica shared out to the group. So I think that's just the standard operating procedure for us to keep in mind as far as our meetings, especially with relation to like City of Annapolis TV folks and expectations. And were there, Jessica, is there anything else we need to know about that, or anything specific you want us to look at?
Really, it's a draft, so we're just kind of accumulating any comments that anyone has, and we can kind of do an incorporation of any comments you guys may have. If you don't have any comments, that's fine too. Just let me know by June 1st if you can. If you have any questions about it, you can also shoot me an email as well.
Great, yeah, thanks for reminding me about that deadline. That is coming up quick. It does give us a little more time. And so if any individuals have comments, you can just work with Jessica directly on that. I've only skimmed it, so I don't have any immediate reactions. But looks pretty standard to me.
Is there anything we have to change that we're doing currently or being mindful of? I didn't really read it, but I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I think since our plans are mostly for like these remote style meetings, again, I think we just have to keep in mind the points about advance notice to the city TV staff, making sure that the invites to people who need to be on Zoom go through them and they're aware and things like that. I think it gives us some timelines to keep in mind as far as like 24 or 48 hours, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Paul, were you trying to talk? I think we're hearing some noise from your end.
Not intending to, no.
All right, just checking. Thanks. Well, I don't have anything else to share, so we don't need to drag this on any longer. Well, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Or I'll make a motion to adjourn. Jenny, second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. All right, so the ayes have it, and let me just confirm our next meeting date, the fourth Wednesday again. I believe that's June 26th. But if that's wrong, it's the fourth Wednesday next month, 7 p.m. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next month. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No,
Bye.
thank-